city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10
years. Let me start off with a Twitch feed this morning, and I got to get the whole name right. Mile High Hockey Land.
The city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
Welcome to the Mile High Hockey Lab.
Hello and welcome to the Mile High Hockey Lab. My name is Adrian Hernandez. I am here today with a full cast of characters: Ezra Parter, Evan Liu, Jackie K, and Brennan Vogt, and we are here to talk about the Colorado Avalanche. Please head on over to the website, milehighhockey.com, where you will find all of our written material. Head over to the Spotify and Apple podcast catalog. Make sure you download all those episodes because that goes a long way for the five of us continuing this train as it rolls into the 2025-2026 season for the Colorado Avalanche. With that said, we have some off-season topics to discuss. Some off-season topics that will inevitably leak into regular season topics if they don't get settled early on. Namely, the Marty Necas decision is what I've dubbed that. We'll get to that later on. We'll talk about Brent Burns and Josh Manson rounding out the defensive group for the Avalanche. The hiring of Dave Hackstall as the assistant here in Colorado, and we will do a little tease of our top 25 under 25. Okay, let's drop the puck. Thank you to the four of you for joining me. I will start with the Brent Burns and Josh Manson contracts. Ezra, I'll start with you, handsome. There's a little bit of questioning heading into this offseason about the defensive group. And now we're kind of getting a little bit of resolve. I kind of want to see how you feel about that statement. But the Avs got Brent Burns on a 1-by-1, and of course, Josh Manson was extended for 2 more seasons. Have your defensive questions been answered?
Well, I was really excited about the Brent Burns contract because I thought, okay, great. So we'll go 1 more year with a little bit of an older defense, and then we'll figure out what's next. The Manson extension kind of threw that out the window, right? It looks like we're staying old for a while, which is one of the big questions, right? What is this blue line going to look like in the future? Not necessarily just this season. This coming season, I like the fit for Brent Burns. I like Josh Manson coming back. The contract for Manson itself, I don't mind it. It's pretty cheap. And he'll probably be pretty much the same guy for the next couple of years, but that guy misses a lot of games. So I feel like there's still question marks. Burns doesn't miss games, but that can change overnight for a guy in his 40s. There's a bit of a question mark as to who's going to actually play, especially on the left side, because obviously there's Taves, there's Gerard, but there's not a third really truly NHL caliber left-handed defenseman. There's Keaton Middleton, and we like Keaton to an extent, but relying on him feels like a mistake. So unless the plan is to shift somebody over from the right to the left, it seems like there is still a question mark in the opening night lineup on the left side.
Yeah, I like the way you put that. And Brennan, I could tell that you felt a little bit slighted when he mentioned people over 40. But not to call you out on your age or anything, but you kind of called yourself out there. Tell me what you think of the Brent Burns signing. I like the fact that, of course, yes, he's one of the older players in the league, but he's got some incentives built into his contract that kind of fly in the face of that oldness, so to speak. If he can play enough games, he'll get a bonus. If he can perform to a certain tune, he'll get a bonus. What are your thoughts on that? And tell me what you think of the extension for Manson as well.
Okay, one of the bonuses is if he plays 10 games, he gets $3 million. So
yeah,
that's okay. I want his agent.
I
more seriously
circumvention than incentive.
Yeah.
You're really muffled on my end, Jackie, but he's played almost every. I think he's played every game for the last 3 or 4 years. So for him to get that kind of a bonus after 10 games,
Yeah.
Bad words.
Just to clarify it real quick, that is designed by the Avs to avoid putting more than $1 million on this year's salary cap.
Oh,
They
I
can
get
put that
it.
up to $2 million on
Exactly.
next
Yeah.
year's.
Oh, I get it. But I
know you do, but it's for the listener.
yeah. It's just his agent pulled fast one in a sense, but I've always loved Burnsy. When I saw that, I immediately went into Star Wars mode and started doing the Wookiee call.
Nice.
He's a fellow history nerd, so I am excited about that.
Cool.
And so with his appearance on Vikings, so if
Nice.
anyone didn't know that, he has done an appearance on Vikings. And the Manson one, I'm not too thrilled about. He has missed so much time that he played what 40 something games last year. So that was a shocker in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So
I felt. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Through this year.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of with you. I was a little bit taken off guard by that extension. And maybe this is me coping because I actually didn't see that as a part of the future for the Avalanche. But Evan, how does this feel? Does it feel like Josh Manson has more trade value or less trade value now that he has an extension in place?
I feel like no. And maybe that's a bit of a shock to people, but you think about Manson's not healthy, like Brennan just said. He's lacked injury. I will say though, I like his contract if he stays healthy, but that is a very big if. This deal doesn't go in until the 2026 or what is it? Whatever the next year is, 26, 27. Yeah. That's the one. And I mean, at that point, by the time he wraps up, I think he's going to be, 35? I think when that new deal is up, 35, 36, somewhere around that range. And, he doesn't have the same longevity as a Brent Burns or as a Jack Johnson, I feel like. So that would make it harder to move that, especially if it's a price tag at $4.5 million, and his number of games keeps trending down. His analytics keep going down. That's just something that teams aren't going to want, and if someone does, I'm sure that they're going to ask the Avalanche to take a bit of a hit on that contract too. So I don't necessarily think so. And I mean, the Avs have shown that they really like Josh Manson. They're biting and hoping that something out of 2022 comes back out of Manson, but I don't see that really happening in the future. But so I think in that sense, I think that means I don't see a way that he gets moved unless something drastic happens.
Yeah, I mean, I could see all of those points you're making. I think the part of me that sees it as a possibility is just that he does fit the mold of kind of what teams look for at the deadline to bolster their defensive group to win a Stanley Cup. And we've seen it before. That's how we ended up in Colorado. I know it's been some time since then, and obviously that plays a factor in terms of his age. And I agree with you. He in a whole body of work, if you look at him in the last three or so years, you're kind of like, I don't really know how much value he has. But if you focus specifically on how he performed in the playoffs for the Avalanche this year when he was healthy and how active he was in participating in exactly what the Avalanche like to do, which is activate their defensive group, I think you see why the Avs made a commitment to him. And I also view that as a quality that other teams would want when that time of year comes around, where you do need your defensive guys to chip in the playoffs in order to really make a long run into the Stanley Cup playoffs. So I agree with you, but I also feel like the Avs are in a good position with that in the sense that they can test the waters a little bit. I know it's only 10 games, Brendan, for Brent Burns. But Jackie, I think you've been pretty vocal about being positive about this Brent Burns signing, which to me is if the Avs do something that you like, I'm like, okay, here we go. They're doing good things right now. So tell me what you liked about the Brent Burns signing, and tell me what you think of the Josh Manson extension, because I feel like we might balance things out right there.
Okay, can you all hear me first of all?
Yeah,
no,
you're a little quiet, but I can help you out here.
Yeah, before I get started, I just want to make.
We lost her. We just lost her. Well, we'll have to see if we can get Jackie back. She must be going into a tunnel right now. But yeah, so basically where I was headed with that one was, Jackie's talked with us in the Slack chat about thinking the Brent Burns signing is a good thing, and I, for one, like the fact that he does bring a ton of personality to the team, and a little bit of kind of, I guess, pest vibes. Not that he's like overly physical, but he's a character. He will not. You won't go a game without knowing that Brent Burns was out there if he's on the ice, and I think that those sort of players are imperative to success in this league, and more particularly to a team like Colorado, who, it's not to say that Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar are dull per se, but they're more of your fly under the radar type of superstars for the most part. And I think a guy like Brent Burns can take on a lot of attention. Looks like we do have Jackie back. Jackie, can you hear us now?
Can you hear me?
You're a little quiet still, but let me see if I can
Well, I don't.
bump you
I'm
up.
not doing anything different, so I don't know.
Okay. You sound fine right now, so let her rip.
Okay. Good.
Yes,
Yes?
ma'am.
Okay. I wouldn't say I'm definitely not negative on the Burns. I don't know if I would say I'm like super pumped,
Mm-hmm.
but obviously I think it'll be interesting to have him. I think he might give them a little bit of swagger, a little bit of personality that I think this team desperately needs.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that you look at it with, it's not a $1 million commitment, it's a $4 million commitment. So that kind of changes the thinking of like, you know that they're going to play him a lot. You know that they're expecting a decent amount from him. So I think that's where you contrast with Manson. The other thing is, yeah, they like him, and I know that I questioned what are you doing with him, but now you're committing to him as well. And I know people will say, well, it's 4 million in the cap going up. Okay, well, remember this when you get to the Metis conversation about like, oh, it's not a big deal, the cap's going up. It's more about their vision for the defense for the future. Like, what I wanted them to do was sort of find a longer than a 1 year solution. And as we just touched on, it seems like they're still missing a left shot defenseman that they're going to have to fix before the season begins. So when you put that all together, I still think there's a lot of question marks. If Burns prevents them from needing to get a rental, that's thumbs up in my book, because I think that is the worst plan to just, oh, we'll just rent a top four guy. Like, no, that's not going to work. It hasn't worked, and it's not going to work. So, like you said, the incentive is just cap circumvention. Like, he's going to play 10 games. I mean, the guy's played 900 consecutive games. I think he can get to 10. So just put that one on the books. I like that it gives them flexibility. Like, they can pay it if they have the cap room, they can push it off. But then again, if this team need to do more buy now, pay later, that definitely gets a little bit concerning. But I get the thought process, and I like the thought process. But the Manson thing, everyone thinks, oh, he can just go for cap space. Well, that's definitely off the table now. They're not going to trade it, not after they made the commitment. I agree with Evan that I think he's less tradable because teams don't want to take on term, especially at his age. Like a 1 year deal, absolutely. He's definitely a player teams want, definitely a rental player teams want, but he's not a rental anymore. So,
yeah.
And the Avs have made that commitment. So, what are they doing with this defense long term? Is definitely still a big question. And does Malinsky fit in long term? He's the one that's on the 1 year cheap contract that still feels a little on shaky ground. So
yeah,
I think there's still a lot in the air.
Yeah, you mentioned Malinsky a lot this last season, and just in our most recent recorded episode, you talked about he and Wood potentially being traded this offseason. And I think that's definitely still on the table. When you see a guy like Josh Manson get that sort of commitment from the Avalanche, you have to look further down the pecking order and say, well, where can they find other equity? Because it really doesn't feel like the Avalanche's defensive group is settled. It doesn't feel like their fourth line is settled either. And then they have, of course, the Marty Necas decision. Brendan, I noticed you were putting your hand up. Did you have a point to make in terms of the Manson deal?
Well, having Manson, at least if he's healthy, that's the big point.
Mm-hmm.
And then also having Burns pushes, and I know how Evan's going to feel about this because we've discussed this in our own articles. It's going to push Middleton down. So I know that
he cannot be more than a 7. Like they're not winning
I agree.
anything if he's.
Middleton is your 60
else with that, Brennan, and I was about to get really nervous.
I love Keaton to death. He's a great guy, great in the hallway, great in the locker room, but he still needs work at 44 games in the NHL, and that comes with time. But unfortunately, I don't think the Avs have that type of time. So
right.
They don't have that kind of time for anyone.
No.
Like they need set and forget, ready to go. So I don't even personally, would I make Middleton a 7? No, I'd probably find someone better. But you pretty much see that he's going to be on the roster. If he's a 7, like you can live with it. But
and the crummy part is
too many. We can live with it already.
The crummy part is this is his last year on a 2-way. The following year, he's on a 1-way. He is going to be an NHLer the following year. So,
I mean, they still could waive him if they're okay.
Yeah, he can still be buried.
Yeah, it could, but that'd be like a Curtis McDermott type situation. Would they want to?
True.
If they find better.
Well, Jackie, to your point, Anthony Pacino, and Anthony, thank you so much for tuning in. Mentions lots of work to be done. Kind of feels like they're plugging holes in the dam with bubble gum. August, they'll start grabbing up whatever floats to the top of the free agent pool and round out the rest of the group. That sounds like Jackie's worst nightmare right there, Anthony. That's
I mean,
that is not the model.
That's the whole other side of it. The other shoe that's going to drop. I don't think they're done. Like, I don't think that's the plan. Even as much as I don't love their plan, that can't be their plan. I don't believe it because there's too much cap space. There's too many roster positions that are unsettled. You can't build an entire third line with, okay, what's left over in August.
Sure.
So this is why I think this is tied to what happens with the Necas, because I feel like they're waiting. It's like halftime in this off season. I know we're going to get to it, but you brought it up. So the whole thing about it's hard to count on a transaction because you need another party. But on the other hand, there's way too much that isn't done. And so it's like there's something that has to happen. There's something, and I think the two are related. Maybe they're not. But if they are going to fill out that many holes with just dumpster diving, like they're not going to be able to do it. You can't count on being able to just plug it with that many random pieces. And as much as you say, like, that's my nightmare, I mean, they just won't do it. Like,
hopefully not,
In a way, in a way, what they do could be worse. Like, what if they trade Necas for third liners? That's actually worse. That's making your team worse. That's getting rid of talent. But that's why I say, like, something has to happen. And I'm usually not the trades are coming. Oh, they're gonna trade like 3 pieces, but it doesn't add up. There's something missing.
True.
And we're kind of like I said, it kind of like at halftime, we're gonna pause and the things that are gonna happen.
Yeah, I like that.
Brad Marchand.
Yeah, totally.
Boy already got paid.
Yeah, he already got paid, and
I don't
you know
care.
what, though,
I don't care.
He's probably golfing, and that's probably what Joe Sakic is getting in right now in his halftime of the offseason. I love that. We should call something that halftime of the offseason. And you know, I'm right there with you, Jackie. Like, I think things are very much unsettled in terms of what the lineup could look like, even on opening night. Like, I know we've talked about August being kind of when the lineup really needs to round out, but for me, this team needs some track. Teams in the years past haven't had a lot of time to gel. We've seen mid-season trades and stuff that kind of really shaken things up the past couple of
And
years.
that would be worth
This year, I
doing.
want some consistency. I want to see a team that we can see night in and night out, obviously barring injuries, a team that we can fall in love with in terms of their personalities and how they gel for the long run, so that when the playoffs do come around, we've done all of the character work, so to speak. We've developed the characters, and now we're ready for the climax of the film and to see how all of those stories settle into the culmination of the season for the Avalanche. So I think we're right at the beginning of the movie, if we're keeping it in the analogy. The movie is just beginning, and we're starting to see the pieces fall into the place. One of the pieces that have fallen into place, one of the dominoes falling towards the regular season, is this hiring of Dave Haxtell as the assistant coach here in Colorado. One of the more pressing topics of this year's offseason. It has been settled. He's the former head coach of the Seattle Kraken and the Philadelphia Flyers, and as well as had some assistant experience with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Brandon, I'm going to send this one to you first. He has the experience, but the job at hand is rejuvenating the power play and special teams in particular. How do you feel about this hire as it pertains to that?
Well, he's got work to do.
Yeah.
If you can't, he beat us, so join him.
Yeah.
But
if you can beat him, join him.
Yeah, it's the opposite way around.
Yeah.
So, he did a good job with the Seattle Kraken, but they played a very heavy game, and that's not the Avalanche style. And if I recall correctly, they weren't very successful on the power play. But
no,
don't have anybody.
What's that?
They don't have anybody who's like a power play.
They didn't have anybody to score. Yeah,
other than Berkey, and then
that was the by committee season for them,
right? Yeah. And Donskoy was hurt, and he got forced out by concussion, and Berkey went dry as usual. And I'm still trying to figure out why they drafted who they drafted, and it's like Donskoy. But anyways, yeah, it's I'm comfortable with it. I'm not happy with it. They could have done better, as Jim Carrey says in Liar Liar. I've had better, but yeah, he'll do. They just needed someone with NHL experience.
Yeah. Well, he definitely has experience, and I will say, yes, he did not have very good numbers on the power play, with the Kraken, but he did design and work with the Toronto Maple Leafs with the likes of Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner at the time on a power play that was pretty successful. So that's optimistic, and I think it's cool. He's noted to be kind of one of the guys that takes a more of an analytical approach to the penalty kill. And I'm hoping that that analytical approach leads him to putting Cale Makar on the penalty kill less often, just to reserve him for other duties. And as he gets older, even though he's still a rosy-cheeked young man, I just think that that's a necessary pivot for the Avalanche for the longevity of their asset. But that's a whole nother podcast. If you ask me, we can get into that definitely. But Evan, I'm curious about how you feel about this hire. We talked a little bit about the possibility of the Avs getting somebody with head coaching experience and how that, maybe could potentially, if things really went poorly to start the regular season, put a little bit of a hot seat under Jared Bednar, given that there'd be a pretty quick and easy replacement waiting in the wings. Does this hire pose that possibility in your opinion?
I definitely think so. I even think the folks at Guerrilla Sports also mentioned this as well, but this is a pretty decently big name hire in addition for that reason. It doesn't put Bednar on the hot seat. I won't say he's immediately under pressure for his job. He definitely still has a lot of leeway, but it's maybe a little nudge of hey, just so you know, this is the guy that beat you in the playoffs. Now he's with us.
Mm-hmm.
Just watch yourself, And Haxtell has been a decent coach when it comes to the power play, like has been mentioned. I think every single year, except for his last year in Philly, the power play got better, and better, which is good, of course. But he also hasn't had a power play with Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar, and now a seemingly revamped Gabe Landeskog. Right? He has not had any of that. So now he has a lot of tools to work with. So I think that there should be some high expectations when it comes to what can he do, what can he produce. It's going to be very different than what we have seen and what the players have known for who knows how many years now, almost a decade. It feels like with the fast entry and the drop to McKinnon or Makar to speed in, like it's going to be different. I would imagine it would be different if they show up game one. Who are they playing? The LA Kings. If they play game one LA Kings on with that same power play or similar ish to it, that's some problems. But I hope they work on it, and I believe in Hackstall to work on it. I think outside of a Pete DeBoer, which is probably never going to happen, or their internal hires, which they then lost, I feel like Hackstall is a pretty good ad. So yeah. I'm hopeful. It's just a matter of how will it all come together, and that's again kind of goes back to you need to build a team and build the chemistry together. It all kind of loops into that. So. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful is what I'll say. It definitely does put some pressure on Bednar though, but not too much right now, at least.
Yeah, this program here at Mile High Hockey Lab, we're just calling for consistency, right, Evan? Like we want some things to stay the same just for a little bit, so we can really know whether or not things are heading in the right direction. Because I think that's a part of why these decisions feel so paramount, because there's a lot of mystery to where the Avalanche truly stand in the I guess patriarchy, for lack of a better term, of the NHL. Jackie, how do you feel about this hire, and how do you feel about like that possibility of a hot seat with Dave Hackstall and Jared Bednar?
Probably similar to Evan. I do think it's significant because he's the first real head coach experienced assistant they've had. So I think you have to take note of that. But I also think this isn't going to be a like, oh, you had a disappointing first 20 games, Bednar's out. No, I think he has a lot more leash than that. I was going to ask, does anyone know how long Haskell's contract is? Did he even say? Did anyone say? It's probably like 2 or 3 years.
I can see.
I don't think anyone said.
Yeah. I think maybe the assumption is probably 2 or 3 years. I think that's pretty standard. So I think maybe you'd look at it more if they have a disappointing either first round exit again or whatever, that they might start looking at it, because it really feels like McFarland believes in this roster, and with the contract that he signed is really doubling down on it. I would disagree with that, but if that's what they believe, if they believe that they have a roster good enough to win the cup, then yeah, Bednar is going to be the scapegoat eventually. So we'll see how the whole season plays out. Is it 1 or is it 2 years? But like nothing lasts forever. He's coming up on a decade behind the bench. So
yeah.
As much as I'd say, oh come on, they're like so in with him and he has so much power and say now, maybe that's kind of a little bit of the problem too. But like they respect him so much, but also nothing lasts forever. So
sure,
if they don't see the problem with the roster they've created, then it's gonna have to be him.
Yeah, to me it presents itself like it would take a perfect storm scenario where the Avs would have to be struggling but not on the power play somehow, so that feels like it's not all that realistic. And you know, you'd have to be able to clearly point to Bednar as potentially being the issue, like, and what that would come down to for me is usage. And I think that is a topic of conversation as it pertains to Bednar, and as it pertains to the power play and just the usage of your superstars in general. Obviously, you want your best players on the ice as much as humanly possible, but you also want to safeguard the fact that they are, in fact, human beings and they have wear and tear. And that's something you need to bring into consideration as well, not just over the length of a career, but also within the scope of a season as you roll into the playoffs and stuff. So I'm kind of with the both of you. Like, it's not necessarily one where immediately I think, oh man, there is I mean, he is a bona fide head coach, but it's not to the tune of success that would have stimulated me to say like, oh, this is a clear message sent to Jared Bednar. I do think it sends one in the sense that it is an assistant hired kind of outside of the decision making of Bednar, or at least so it seems. I'm sure he was involved in who they chose, but I know ultimately that was probably Sakic and McFarland who made the decision. So it is an interesting thing to ponder. Ezra, your final thoughts on the hiring of Dave Hackstall?
Yeah, I think I agree with pretty much everything that's been said. He's a guy who has some experience, but it didn't go great, so I don't consider him a true heir apparent or anything like that, like we've said. What I'll add is he had a lot of success in college, which we didn't touch on at Notre Dame. Nope, North Dakota. UND was. I just had the wrong ND.
You're good.
North Dakota. Which I think if it is the case that the Avs end up trying to fill out some roster spaces with some younger players who maybe come through the college ranks, that which we've seen them do with like Malinsky, we don't know what could shake out the rest of the offseason. Maybe there's some sort of bonus to having somebody with college experience. Sure. I don't know. I'm throwing shit out there. Excuse me, stuff. But I ultimately with him, he's a guy who's probably hoping to get another NHL job, head coaching job very soon. So I would guess that contract is short if he doesn't expect it to come in Colorado. Mm-hmm. That we don't know the contract. I tried to find it while we were talking, but
I did too. Yeah, nothing came. Surprise.
I didn't think it came up, but yeah, I just didn't know if I missed it. I didn't really touch on the power play specifically. I don't know if it's so much a magic wand just getting like a new person in, and I don't think I saw someone comment, I didn't verify it myself, but in Toronto, the other assistant was on the power play. So he didn't really run that Toronto power play. I don't know. I think on one hand, like, they just need fresh ideas in general, not just talking about the power play. Like, I think Bednar had some really inventive ideas with the system when he first arrived, and I think that's been kind of copied, and it's not as much of a competitive advantage as that personnel. Is that just because some coaches have seen it, like DeBoer has seen it, that's also part of it. Like, he has a system and some of these coaches have seen it. So you do need some fresh ideas. So with the power play, I don't know. I expect some tweaks. I don't expect like a whole new world or anything. Because Bednar is still at the helm. You still have for the most part, like McKinnon obviously had a lot of say. There's certain things that he wants. He wants the one-timer, this or that. Like, that's always gonna, I don't know. So like I said, I expect it to be more familiar than I think maybe fans are hoping for, but with some tweaks. Like, just get out of the umbrella. That's the one thing. I don't even really care about the entry. The entry works a lot of the time. So, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not complaining about the entry. That's never been my complaint. Just get out of the umbrella, and for goodness sake, if you can figure out a look that utilizes Makar in a special way, because you have the most special defenseman on the planet, that's what I want to see. That would be like, wow, somebody sat around and had an idea this summer. Other than that, I don't think it's going to be that different. But then again, when you have a power play that probably is going to have to feature Brock Nelson if Nichess is gone, you might be kind of.
We lost her, but I'm right there with her. Like, we're talking about letting Cale Makar, letting the boy spin, and that is something like that's not necessarily like the hardest idea to have. It's a very hard idea to execute because other teams know that he's your best player and your best weapon. So they gear themselves towards that. Same with McKinnon. Part of the reason why the Kraken did so well against the Avalanche a couple of years ago was they high-load McKinnon to death. And every single time he went to pull up and do his crash the net, pull up, create space, find someone else crashing, there was somebody just to stop him and create havoc. And there are ways to plan against your other team's best player. That's the job for the opposing coaches. So I'm right there with you, Jackie, to find a new way, a refreshing and a successful and hard to manage way of enabling Cale Makar and his extreme talent. That is, to me, on the forefront of everything that the Avs need to fix with the power play. Evan, what do you have for me, buddy?
I just think the last thing I want to touch on
Oh,
with this is that. Oh, hello. Maybe it's an 8-0 problem, but the last thing I just wanted to touch on with this power play was that don't be surprised, and I kind of alluded to it earlier. Don't be surprised if it comes out of the gate slow, because it's kind of been the trend with Dave Haxtell, is that his power plays haven't started off great. They've gotten better over time, and this is going to be a brand new system for the Avalanche in like 8 years or however long it's been since Ray Bennett was with the organization. So it'll probably take at least a couple of games for them to get rolling again and figure out the system that Hackstall would like. So don't be surprised if they come out of the gate slow, at least on the power play. Obviously, you'd hope that growth that Hackstall had year to year, rather than happens month to month, maybe with the Avalanche. I just want to temper expectations here that, like, don't be surprised if it gets off to a slow start.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Just because also the Avs have a couple of guys who notoriously start slow, specifically Nathan McKinnon. So most of that power play is guys who start slow. So, all that matters is next spring anyway. So that's fine. I don't mind it starting slow.
Yeah, Jackie, we lost you for a second there. Did you want to round out your thought on Cale Makar and the power play?
Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. We have to say that before like every answer. I was just saying, if they lose Netchas, which we'll touch on, I know that, knock on wood, they'll have Landy, so that could be the net front solved, but they might not quite have the talent that folks are used to as far as power play talent. So I do kind of suspect that there's going to be a lot more focus on Makar. I think that's part of what we saw towards the end of the season. Like I said about utilizing him in more creative ways, I think they might have to, because if teams just know prevent the one-timer to McKinnon and make sure you stay tight to Makar, then you're going to shut down the Avs power play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's kind of what I was touching on too. It's just like, when you are limited in terms of your other weapons, when you know it's going to Cale and you know it's going to Nate, the job gets a little bit easier, even though, of course, they are tremendously talented players. It's just that therein lies the issue. Therein lies why it felt like it was getting stale, because it was. And it's an idea, like you said, Jackie, you've said this many times on this show, and it's so true, that this is like a copycat league, and success is feigning because teams start to replicate what other teams are finding success with. And with that comes the movement of teams adjusting to it defensively, and how it kind of just ebbs and flows. So it is time for a new, fresh perspective and some fresh ideas here in Colorado. So speaking of fresh perspective and fresh ideas, we have a top 25 under 25, a 2025 edition. That's a lot of 25s. But there aren't many 25 and under year olds to choose from in this list for the Colorado Avalanche. However, we did it. The challenge was there, and it was one that we accepted, and it was one that we have successfully accomplished. So, folks, you can get you'll see the preview come out on Thursday for our top 25. And if you haven't read it before, it is on our website. We go through the Avalanche and we go from 25 to number 1 in terms of their players in their system who are 25 or under. Just a little look back onto our 2024 list. That's going to hurt a little bit. Number 1 was Cal Ritchie, of course, at the time. He was the best player in the Avalanche system. Number 3, Justus Annunen. Number 4, Nikolai Kovalenko, all 3 of which are no longer Colorado Avalanche. We had Brandstrom at 7, Jean-Luc Foudy at 8, Andre Pavel at 10, some William Zellers at 12, Kevin Mandolise at 21 in a tie, and Maros Jedlica, rounding out last year's list. So be sure to take a peek at that as it starts to roll out. As I mentioned, we will have the preview come out on Thursday, and I believe, let me look at the schedule here, number 25 will come out the following day on Friday. Excuse me, the honorable mention. Honorable mention will come out Friday, yeah.
Well, we have 26. So we used to do 25 plus honorable mention, but there's just literally one. So he's going to get his own profile called the honorable mention, and I will publish that on Friday. And then on Monday, we'll begin the actual countdown of 25. We'll do 5 a week for 5 weeks, knock on wood, that nothing goes wrong. And then that will take us right to September. I don't like the profiles getting into September. I think September's time to get excited and ready for training camp, rookie camp. I mean, loose ends tied up, so I think it's a good time to start it right now because, like, literally nothing happened in the last week. As Adrian mentioned, 6 of our top 10 from last year are gone, so it's going to be a very different top 10. We were unanimous in our number 1, which to us it seems obvious, but I've seen other lists on other message boards platforms that did not have the same number 1. So
nice.
That could be something to look forward to. Like I said, it's just going to be a lot different because so many are gone. Good mix of college guys, prospect draft picks. There's nobody, hasn't been in for, well, I guess depending on how you count it, Anaman, but we're in the era of no avs, no current avs on the list, so it's all future players. We used to have some, even Nathan McKinnon was on our list a few years ago.
Wow.
And
Cale Makar.
So, yeah, Cale Makar. So, yeah, just look forward to that. We've got a lot of guys profile. We actually have 26. We actually got there. A little concerned. We might need to nudge in some AHL guys, but we don't. So we've got 26 actual Avalanche property prospects.
Woohoo!
You couldn't make an exception for 27 for Brent Burns. I mean, what are we doing here? Come on.
No.
Number 1, Brent Burns.
Yeah, I would think if I was going to make an exception for anybody, just Makar. Just
Makar, yeah.
Just make it Makar. Why not?
Yeah.
Just
Well, like
another 20 years.
The years where Makar was under 25, he was like, everyone knew who our number 1 was going to be. We'd like tease it the day before, like, who will be number 1, and everyone would be like, let me guess. So it's kind of nice. I like the challenge that we had to rank these 25 because you're right, Jackie, it's different. Like, it's totally different. Like I mentioned, the top 4 from, or I believe top 3 from last year's top 25 are gone. So you immediately put those seats up for grabs. Go ahead, Jackie. Sorry.
Real quick about Makar. I wrote his very first profile. So in 2017 when we did it, I wrote it. So if anyone could find it, it's a good one. I think it was maybe number 4 then or number 6, something like that. But I wrote it in 2017. So I think that was a good one to find if anyone wants to look for it.
Very nice.
Here's a thought. We need to be like the Pro Writers Hockey Association or Pro Hockey Writers Association, and we need to publish our votes.
There you go. I see what you did there. Yeah,
I believe in
mine.
With
the high and the low, so I don't think anyone's like hiding.
Nothing too crazy. Yeah,
I believe in transparency.
I don't want anyone to know how I rated Christian Humphreys. Okay.
Yeah.
I can go check right now and I will tell the world.
I'm actually the high vote on him, and I honestly have no idea who he is.
I don't want.
Well, we kind of had a loose rule, like if you're the highest on someone, then you got to write it.
I mean, the top 5 for me was no problem. It was the rest of them. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to fight with myself on this one.
Yeah. I will say there are a few surprises in there. I thought I was going to be trendy. Like, I thought I was going to show up to the first day of school in like the fanciest outfit, new shoes. And I showed up to the party and it felt like everyone had shopped at the same store. So that was my experience for the top 25 under 25, barring a few little things, but it's an exciting thing. I like it. I like how you have it scheduled, Jackie, and how it'll lead into camp and stuff, and how we can get excited about some of these guys and participating in camp and kind of monitor their success and see how realistic it is that the Avs can maybe find some of these solutions internally, although right now it doesn't really feel like it. But we will hold out hope for the next wave of Colorado Avalanche, despite the fact that we only had 26 of them to choose from this year. But let's talk about, in my opinion, the new most pressing conversation for the Colorado Avalanche, which is what to do with one Martin Necas and his contract expiring, and how the Avalanche will manage him in terms of him being an asset within the organization. We have a quick take from Brendan right there. Right, for that's like a snap call.
I'm joking.
But Evan, I want your take first, Mr. Ev. He hasn't extended. Obviously, we're sort of hoping it would happen this summer. As we get closer to the regular season, as we get closer to the trade deadline, as when the season does arrive, these conversations are going to get louder, and the skepticism is going to get a little heavier. How do you think, in your opinion, the Avalanche should handle the Martin Necas contract situation?
Yeah. Before I go into that, I just want to say I found Jackie's article from 2017. He's number 7, which is actually that could be. So that was the lowest he ever was, I think, from that point on. What were the names? McKinnon, Rantanen, Landeskog.
Okay.
I already closed it, but I know at least those 3 were up there for sure.
Okay.
I was gonna say who is the 6 ahead?
Yeah.
Sam Girard maybe ahead of him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. Here I'm just looking. We're gonna figure this out. This is much more exciting than talking about Marty Necas because I have.
Wait, I don't think they had traded for.
Okay, here we go. McKinnon 1,
Oh,
Rantanen 2, Landeskog 3, Tyson Jost 4. Nikita Zadorov is 5th. JT Comfort is 6th.
Yes,
And
Jimothy.
then the car 7th. So that's
We had
a list.
JT. Oh boy.
That's why
That's
we
a
do
list.
these, because it makes a nice archive.
At least
Exactly.
they're all NHLers.
I enjoyed the
storyline, but yeah.
We should re-share that on our socials, like it's this year's version, like Cale Makar, number 7, and just to cause a stir. Oh, I like that, Evan. But back to the Marty Necas.
I was gonna say,
Back
so,
to
yeah,
the Marty Necas.
back to the pressing topic here, which I've been calling it, I think, really ever since our free agency day show, when I said, like, where is the Necas contract? Like, I'm noticing very similar trends to how Mikko Rantanen was kind of dealt with, and that's a concern, obviously, when you look at where we are 1 year later when it comes to that. And I think that they are going to be looking for similar-ish money. I think 10 million is kind of the benchmark now. I think that's kind of what's been reported now for Necas. And like, if you want to keep him, you have to pay him. That's what we tried to tell the front office with Rantanen, and that didn't work out. They got Necas in return, and Necas has said that Colorado hasn't been the best to him. Granted, I think he averaged under a point per game, and that's pretty harsh considering the fact that he led the league in points at one point this last season. So there are some worrying signs, and at least on Brandon and I's Hockey Mountain site, we're doing all of the player reviews for the last year, and I'm doing Marty Necas, which comes out sometime next month. We're way ahead on him. But I say in there, just a little sneak peek, if you don't want to be the ultimate loser of this Mikko Rantanen trade, you have to sign Marty Necas. I would prefer it to be done sooner rather than later. And like that, whether that would mean then that he's a little bit cheaper now than maybe he is in, next May or June, right before the before free agency opens. Like, you just have to get it done. And that's why I'm concerned about the trend, at least where it's going. And like, we don't really know anything. The Rantanen camp eventually, if we think back to this last season, there were signs of like Rantanen is close to signing, and that never happened in the end of the day, right? I fear that something similar might happen with Necas, and I just don't love that. So if you want to keep him,
jump in real quick.
Go ahead, Ez.
And Evan's article will be August 7th, by the way.
August 7th, so look out for that. But my counterpoint article will probably never come out, but here's my counterpoint. I think you can't think about the Rantanen trade with this Nature's negotiations. It's over. It's the past. The only thing that matters is today. If you're going to make a decision on Nature's, it can't be because you don't want to lose the Rantanen deal. That is wrongheaded, and it is a way to tank any logical thought about the actual trade, or the actual contract with Nature's. You can't be living in the past on this. It's too big. It's too important. If he's a fit, great, keep him. If he's not, great, trade him. That's all it is. And to me, I think there's a lot of arguments for why he maybe isn't a fit. I mean, if you're looking at just the top power play alone, you're looking at 3 righties, and that's really rare. There's not a lot of teams that are running 3 righties on their top power play. That doesn't mean it doesn't work. I'm not saying that can't work, but it does mean they have to figure out how it works. So to me, I think the Nature's conversation is, let's see how it goes. And obviously you'd rather have something done right now so you know, but it wasn't awesome last year. It was good. It was good. It was promising. But with the training camp and a couple of months of season under your belt, then you know. And for me, I think it makes perfect sense to hold off on signing him until you decide.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
I hear both sides of this, and it does feel a little Groundhog Day-esque, Evan, in terms of the Mikko Rantanen stuff. I mean, we got reports of Nature's having contentious negotiations with Carolina, which I imagine is what inspired them putting him on the table in the first place. We were dealing with doubt, the Colorado Avalanche and Carolina. They were saying, we're going to throw you our doubt this year in exchange for a little bit of doubt down the road. Well, here we are down the road for the Colorado Avalanche. And I'm with you, Ezra, in terms of, I've been saying it all episode, consistency, buy in, let these guys have their time, a little bit of runway. But simultaneously, the Nature's situation is a little bit more complex when you think about the context of where the Avs really need success in their top 6 is in the playoffs. Jonathan Drouin, when healthy, was plenty productive in the regular season within the top 6. But we saw how that kind of shook out in the playoffs. And I'm a big proponent of Joe and Drouin's time here in Colorado. But the reality of the situation was a little bit inevitable. And I think that is where this gets tough, because you don't really know. And the only way to find out is to risk it. And let him play through the playoffs, let him bet on himself, get closer to the free agency window where he'll inevitably be his most expensive. So that's my question to you, Brennan. I'm sorry. Excuse me. This one I'll give to Jackie, since Ezra, you jumped in. What's riskier for the Avalanche, trading Natchez or extending him without knowing per se where he'll be come playoff time?
I mean, sure, it's a risk either way, but I think you have to have already made your decision. They don't have the luxury of time.
Yeah.
That's what he was here for since January for. If they don't have their answer, then they're not going to get it. I get that a training camp and familiarity and everything, it does matter, but if you don't know by now, you don't know. And then the answer is no. If you don't know by now that you want to commit to him, the answer is no. So. And the other thing is about his value. The Mikko situation was unique that they found a top-line player that they could get in return. They are likely not going to get that if they trade Natchez. So if you wait till the trade deadline, you wait till January again, you're looking at a pure rental return. It's going to be futures. It's going to be prospects. Because this team keeps saying, we're winning now, we need real players and this and that, I don't even think they're going to get a top-line player if they trade him tomorrow, but they would get players that would fill the roster holes that we talked about. So, I mean, you have to know. When you traded for him, you had to know what kind of price tag it was going to look like, first of all. Everyone was like, oh, this is wonderful. We got rid of Mikko and the headache and the money. And it's hello, you still haven't paid Natchez. The headache's not gone. You just transferred it. And so now that reality is finally coming due. I don't really believe that he was unhappy. That was one report. I don't know. I don't put a ton of stock into that. I think he just wants to get paid. So the other problem with trading him is that we've heard they actually had a trade agreement with Buffalo last year. He wouldn't extend there. They actually were going to trade him for Ehlers, and Winnipeg knew that he wouldn't extend there. So here's another problem. If you think about you're trading him at the deadline or whatever, nobody thinks that they're going to be able to extend him.
Yeah, exactly.
So if he's a guy that's looking at, unrestricted free agency. He knows the cap is supposed to go up like $8 more million next year. I'm sure his agent is negotiating off of that figure and not even this year's figure because it's not even relevant for this year.
Sure.
So it's going to cost a lot. What would I do? I would just pay him because in this league, you need talent, you need top players. You're not going to get another one. You're not drafting one. You're not developing one. You're not signing one as a free agent. And you're not trading for one. So you have one,
Yeah.
you need to pay him. But, you know, as Evan talked about the timing, well, when McKinnon and Taves signed, they signed in September. So we do still have time. However, if they're not really on the road to grinding it out, like it's not going to happen. If they're still thinking about it or they don't even want to get in the neighborhood of his ass, like it's not going to happen. So we're going to have to make a decision. Like I said, the sooner the better. The longer you wait, the less you're going to get. You're just going to get some draft picks. So, you know, could you turn around and turn that into a rental? But then now you've turned Mikko Rantanen into a rental.
Yeah.
So that's the other problem. And I agree with Ezra. You can't base the decision on because this was Mikko Rantanen, but you can base it on this is a talented player that you're not going to replace.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's the issue.
I love that perspective, Ezra, because I think it's important to draw that line in the sand. And I hope to God that management shares that perspective because you really it's an emotional way to make a decision if you're still weighing how Mikko figures into an extension.
But is that
or
how they
trading
ended up
Natchez.
at the Nelson extension?
Yeah,
I would rather
well,
not done that.
I don't think so.
yeah.
I think they really wanted him, Nelson.
Yeah.
I don't agree, but I think they really wanted him.
I think they really wanted Nelson too, and I think the proof is kind of in the pudding and how expeditiously they took care of what he needed in order to stay in Colorado. But Brendan, I want your final thoughts on this whole Martin Necas debacle. The Marty party is still in Colorado. I, for one, hope they do sign him and extend him because, as Jackie mentioned, there's a litany of other places that you typically get talent. And they're pretty much empty in terms of those cupboards otherwise. So they need to keep top six talent if they can keep it. Where are you at with this, Brennan?
Well, they still have time, first off, and I think I said this. I can't remember who I said it about, and it may have been about Rantanen. I said it to you guys about, just because he's not going to sign the contract, you're going to break up with him.
Yeah.
I think it was like, I referenced it to like, I think the exact words I said was, just because your girlfriend's going to break up with you in 4 months, you're going to break up with her.
Now.
Now.
Yeah.
Now. I think that's the exact way I put it. And that's exactly what people are saying that the Avs need to do with Necas. And it's just, no, it doesn't work that way. Negotiations take time, and negotiations are exhausting, and negotiations they're and especially during the off season, they bounce back and forth. They bounce back and forth. Like Jackie and all of you guys have said, they're doing this with the exact, with the knowing that the cap is going up next year. Yeah. And I've heard that he wants 10 million. Is he worth 10 million? Based on his play with the Avalanche,
possibly.
Based on his play with the Avalanche at the end of the year, not so much.
I mean,
I think yes.
It's going to pay for production. Like how much do you? If you think you're getting him under 10, and I'm not even sure 10 would get it done. I don't know if 10 today would get it done. So you got to pay. He was top 20 in points for the year. If you look at. He's not at Kucherov level. He's not at Pasternak level, but, the production's close to when, especially when Kucherov signed. Kucherov signed many years ago. So if you think you're going to get him for 8, not in the neighborhood of 8 or 9 or something like that, it's not happening.
But Kucherov was double fisting Bud Lights at the, after Stanley Cups. So
Well, I'm not saying he should be paid like Kucherov, but I'm saying you're not going to win the battle with with the cap going up. It's inflation.
Yeah.
I know it sounds high. It's in your mind. No, that guy's not a $10 million player. Like, it's a threshold. But if you look at the reality, if you look at cap hit percentage, you look at the cap inflating, you look at his production, like, that's just a going rate. You're just going to have to pay it. So, like you said, if you're negotiating right now, it takes time. But what if they're not really negotiating? What if they don't even want to get into that neighborhood? The other thing is he's that close to UFA. He doesn't have loyalty. The Avs don't have loyalty. That's the difference with Nico. Nico was here 10 years and won a cup. Natchez, he's been here a few months. Like, how much are either party really willing to be the one to sacrifice here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think like it's important to consider the fact that, between the years 2019 and 2025, a $10 million player means something. Basically, after this season with the cap going up the way it has, and especially next year, if it does continue to go up at the rate that they predict, what a $10 million player looks like is going to change. That body of players is going to get larger. And I think you need to consider that when you look at Marty Natchez. And you might find yourself considering the reality that among those newly formed $10 million players, Marty Natchez is probably closer to being truly that valuable. As Ezra pointed out earlier, Evan, he was leading the league in points at one point last season with Carolina. He's shown plenty of potential. We've seen the speed. We've seen the skill. Like, he has the tools to be a supremely dominant player in this league, especially if he's going to be on a line with Nathan McKinnon and in a group with Cale Makar. So I think the Avalanche are in a good position as long as they keep their chips in place. I just get the heebie-jeebies, man, because the Mikko thing hurt me. And that's why I think that line in the sand is so important, Ezra, because it was so painful for them to not just pay Mikko.
Your ex-girlfriend broke up with you.
Yeah,
exactly. That's the person they should have paid.
Yeah, that I agree.
Even if I assume that $12 million was not going to happen last summer, like $12 million happened because of hindsight. Even if it wasn't $12 million, but I bet if they got to that McKinnon figure last summer, it would have happened.
Yep, so I agree, and that's where it's like, learn your lesson.
Yeah. So if we're talking about Mikko around 12.5 versus paying Natchez 10 or more, like, I don't even think 10's going to do it.
That's an easy freaking choice.
10.5, and you're saying, well, we don't know who this guy is, we don't know how he performs. This is why the whole thing was just such broken thinking. But I get it. We're here. We're in this reality. He's gone. I just don't think the answer is taking more talent off the roster. I don't think they can afford it.
Yeah.
Unless
I like AJ. Yeah,
they know something we don't. Just throwing it out there. There's a couple other free agents potentially in 2 years.
Don't say
Jack Eichel, Kyle Connor McDavid.
Okay, but Jack Eichel's going to get more than 10.
Yes.
Sidney,
all three of them are
Crosby.
No. We are not locked on Avalanche. Yeah, we're not Chris, and he's always pushing for Crosby. No.
I'm joking about this guy, but I do think, like, if we're gonna joke about bringing Crosby here, we should do the same jokes about McDavid, because neither was happening.
Well, the Crosby thing is because of his age. Like,
yeah, I know. Yeah,
Crosby's gonna do. Everybody is going to cater to what he wants. It's not going to be as expensive because it's about this is your wishes. This is what Sid wants. They're going to make it work. No, they're not going to pay him $5, but he's not going to be getting $15 million from wherever he goes. No. So
he's going to get the craziest, cheapest contract you ever thought you'd ever see Sidney Crosby get, just for one last ride. It's going to be
$870 million.
To go to.
Yeah, 870,000
who aren't coming here, so don't talk about it. Artemi Panarin, Alex Ovechkin, Anze Kopitar.
I mean, if
none of these guys are happening.
First of all, if they hit the market and they can land one of them, great. But if that's their plan,
yeah, obviously.
Yikes! Yeah,
Kaprizov.
Now we're talking. Get
if you can swap out Nature for Kaprizov, you do it.
Yeah, you do that. Well,
I do that.
Yeah, there's one last.
They might need to start building a rink now. if that's his
Yeah.
plan.
Where's
Yeah,
the
for real.
force trade button?
Yeah.
Let me find that real quick. But one
They
last
don't
thing
even
we
have
got to
that in
take care of.
25 anymore.
I know it's BS, man. I can't even put Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin on the same team anymore. But we have one last thing to take care of. I'm not going to ask you all to make new bold predictions because it's not the time. Nothing's happening. I don't know what you would I don't know what you'd boldly predict.
I had one.
but folks-
Seriously, I had one.
I'll let you do one
I'll
if
come
you
up
if
with
you got
something.
one, Evan. But all right, well, let's just do it then. I guess if we're figuring it out, I really love you guys for doing that. But folks, please do me a favor and give all four of my esteemed colleagues and guests a follow. Ezra Parter joining me, as well as Evan Lou, Jackie K, and Brendan Boat. You can find Brendan and Evan's work on Hockey Mountain High. Brendan is also doing a little bit of work with us at Mile High Hockey. Same with Ezra and Jackie there on milehighhockey.com. Jackie is our fearless managing editor. And you can find some of my written material there, as well as we typically do some recaps to these episodes. And there is where you can find a link to our full catalog on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And you can also find all of our social links there. But the last thing we got to take care of is bold predictions, which, as I mentioned in our last episode, is newly sponsored by Brews Ale House. Head on over to Brews Ale House in Pueblo, Colorado on the Pueblo Riverwalk. They have some delicious beverages. They are alcoholic, and they also make non-alcoholic beer. So if that's your steez, head on down there as well. And they have some awesome new things on the menu. And they do brunch on Sundays, guys. That's the best stuff right there. Go to Bruce for brunch on a Sunday. But here is this week's edition of Bold Predictions, brought to you by Bruce.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
I call that bold talk.
All right, so I did write down our bold predictions from our Fresh Start episode. And Evan, you said that the Avs would trade one or both of their picks. Unfortunately, my friend, that did not happen, so I have to give you a wrong buzzer.
I'm happy I got that one right. So that's
Yeah.
or I got that one wrong. I'm happy I got that one.
Exactly. Jackie, you got a half point, which I'll just give you myself, ding, because you guessed that Miles Wood would be traded, but you also had Sam Alinsky in there. And you said that the former Av would get traded during the draft. So I gave you kind of like a yes and a no. Brennan, same for you.
A former Av got traded during the draft.
Oh, because Malinsky didn't get traded.
No.
No.
There was a
Uh-oh.
former Av that got traded literally during day 2 of the draft. You guys
Yeah,
know
but
who?
Oh,
Who was it?
I was even going to claim that Coyle was traded, so he's now a former Av. But no, I don't even
That's true.
need the qualifier.
who
An
was it?
actual former Av got traded literally during the draft. It was Connor Timmins was traded to Buffalo.
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah,
happened-
Connor Timmins.
Actually during the draft. So
Okay, so you got 2 of 3 right, so I'll give you your ding.
okay,
That's fair.
fine.
That's
2 of
fair.
3.
That's fair. All right. Well, Brennan, to the tune of why Jackie was partially right as well, you mentioned that Miles Wood would be traded for a 4th or a 5th round, but you also threw in a Natchez trade. So you sort of get a half-Z ding right there. I love that response right there. And then I said that the Avs would make multiple trades on day 1 of the 2025 draft. I don't think that they did that, so I'm just going to give myself a buzzer there.
But Woods is finally gone.
Thank God, right? We talked about that contract like it was here for
Yeah,
good.
I'm glad we don't have to talk about that anymore. For
Yeah,
sure.
same here.
But I can
Glory
throw
be
a
to
new
God. Yeah.
I can throw a new prediction in there. It's kind of
All right,
similar to
let's
my
get
other
yours
one.
first right
Yeah.
now, Jackie. Let's hear it.
Okay. Well, I gotta hit this Malinsky drum till it comes up, right?
Yeah.
He's either gonna get a 5-year extension or get traded. So it's gonna happen one of these days. So I'm gonna be right. I'm gonna stay with Natchez. He's gonna go
I
in the
dig
Natchez
that.
trade. So
Ooh.
I'll put it on the books till training camp. If training camp, the puck drops on training camp, and Natchez and Malinsky are at camp, then my prediction's gone. But until then,
I'll give you that.
Until
I'll give you
then,
that.
I'm gonna let it ride. Yeah.
So Malinsky either a 5-year extension or traded potentially
I'm just joking
with
about
the
the
Natchez.
extension. I'm just saying, like, they're not going to do it now. They just signed him. I'm just saying,
Sure.
I'm going to beat that drum until they commit to him.
I love it. I
It's
love
gonna
it. Well,
happen. So
I'm gonna keep that little tongue-in-cheek 5-year extension in there because by God, if something like that happened, it'd be a hilarious thing to predict. Evan, what do you got for me this week? You said you had one as well.
I did. I came prepared. I was ready for this.
Nice.
And it was almost taken away from me. We are very much in the off seasons. This is a very off season bold prediction. But tomorrow, for those of you that follow soccer as well, specifically in the Denver area, the Denver NWSL team will get like their brand revealed this week and weekend for their start that's coming up next season. Yeah, next season, 2026.
Yep.
And so I think that we will have a member of the Avalanche on social media saying, congratulations to Denver, whatever their name will be on social
it
media.
actually has to be a current player.
Correct.
And a
Yes.
post. I got
Yes.
you.
Like a McKinnon or a McCarr. That's what they did, I think, when they first were introduced. So I think they'll do it again.
So does it have to be on Twitter or like they like Instagram more? So it's on Instagram
Anywhere.
account.
I'll take
I was gonna
any
say They
medium.
all like
Yeah.
Instagram more now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take any medium.
'Cause
Well,
I
it's
ain't
because
be
they're great with
stalking.
reels. Yeah. All right. I like that one. That is very much an off-season bold prediction. So the new MWSL team is to announce their branding, the Denver team, and you predict that a member of the Avalanche will get on social media and congratulate said team. That'll be cool because I'll just share the video and say, "There you go, Evan. You got a ding."
And then and you said they actually congratulated them before.
Yeah, I think when they first were introduced, I think they were like,
Who
congratulations.
actually did it? Like none of them.
I don't remember. It
did
was
care
probably a
about
McKinnon
anything.
or a McCarr, if I had to guess. I'd have to
I
go
bet
back.
Gabe starts
I
doing
would
a lot
say
of that.
Gabe's more likely,
Yeah.
but McKinnon and McCarr don't do anything unless they're paid.
McKinnon's working out right now. I promise. Or like drinking
Oh,
something.
Maybe you didn't know that
Yeah.
it was Confer's wedding over the weekend.
Oh, so then he's definitely working out right now because he's sweating it out.
I hadn't seen
Sweating
him
it out.
at Confer's wedding.
Uh-oh.
I saw
Drummer.
some former Avs at Confer's wedding.
Dang. Did he get the invite? See,
I
this
don't
is some
know.
real world
I don't
Avalanche
know.
stuff right
I know.
here.
I don't even. And before anyone paints me as this person, I do not go deep on Instagram or socials. So
Yeah.
I'm not following wise. I'm not looking for it. This has got to be like pretty first degree level care stuff. So.
You know, what happened is JT Confer wrote a letter to somebody, was like, to Nate, and was like, when he left the training facility, Cale McCarr had a Slurpee, and now there's drama. So that's
I
why
will
Nate
say
didn't get
McCarr and
invited.
O'Connor were there.
Yeah, that's cool though. Congrats, JT,
I
Timothy,
know.
you
The
ginger.
reason why I bring it up, I know he's your boy. So.
Yeah, that's my man right there. Us
He's
gingers, we got to stick
the
together.
driest personality like ever.
But that's why he has, like, he's the type of guy who's made to be a grandpa. Like when he's a grandpa, people are gonna be like, "Oh, okay, now he's finally coming to his personality. I get it now." That's JT.
Well, it was hard to read him. That was the thing. It was just like, are
Just
you
like your
being
grandpa.
serious or are you actually joking? I don't know.
Just like when your grandpa tells you you're not a varsity athlete, you can't decide if he's razzing you or if he's being 100% serious, and you should just whole ass quit the team. But Brendan, what you got for
add
me this
Landy
week?
to the list. I don't want anyone to rip on me for missing Landy. But other than that,
Okay.
that's all I saw. I don't go deep, like I said. Too old for that.
No water wings on Instagram for Jackie. Ezra, what do you
No.
got for bold prediction this week?
I'm gonna predict some PTOs. I think the Avs are gonna have at least 2 former Sharks on PTO. Some combination of Luke Cunnin, Kevin LeBanc.
Okay.
Where'd the other one go? Jan Rutta. They're gonna have some weird PTOs.
I
Any
dig
reason
it.
why you picked the Sharks, or just because they have a lot of borderline?
Just because
players?
it felt fun. There's just a bunch of ex Sharks in the list here.
I like LeBlanc.
LeBanc.
Maybe
Yeah, he
for our
was
next
good when he
show,
was young. He's been bad.
Take it to LeBanc.
I think they
You
just
know what
want
I'm
old
saying?
people. Like I'll look on the list. He's like over 32. That's right.
Yeah, that's why I went with Ruda for sure.
We should make
some
a
of the other older
satire.
options there.
Yeah.
We should make a satire. Bottom 10 over 40. list.
You took my idea.
Top 35 over 35.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I'm pushing for them to have the oldest roster. They have the second oldest. Now, don't go by
Yeah.
Puckpedia because they have like Kristapov on the.
Oh yeah,
that
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
count. But if you
Thomas
look
Tatar's
up,
back out there.
yeah.
Oh,
But if
great.
you look at some other
Craig
lists,
Smith
they're
to
number
Europe.
2.
Oh, did he?
Great.
Okay, I missed that.
Don't
David
do that.
Savard?
Okay.
No, he retired. Ryan Suter. He could be our left-handed defense
That's
answer.
true. He's float. Oh,
I
you
can
know
see
what?
that.
Coach
That
Ryan
one
Suter.
actually.
That'd be
that could a
hilarious.
good guess.
Great against Minnesota would be like, look at.
I genuinely
look what
love Ryan Suter, but it might be time, buddy. You know.
Yeah,
Watch your mouth. He graduated the same year I did.
yeah. Well,
I
take
told
it
he
with
was
a
my
grain of
he
salt.
was my
player.
coach when he was a freshman. He coached one of my camps.
That's awesome.
I
That's
can
very
see
cool.
it though for 1 year, or especially PCO. I can
Yeah.
see it in PCO.
Him and Burns,
That's a good
third
guess.
pair.
There you go.
I think Burns.
All right,
is the
Brandon, your
second
last
pair.
but
do
very
too.
not least on our bold predictions. Brandon, hit us.
Way things are going, Steinberg makes the opening night roster.
Oh,
For sure. Yeah. Well, no, he can't.
Hey,
opening night.
why? What's that face all about, Evan?
He can't be on the opening night roster. He has a 1-game suspension to serve.
Oh,
That's
no,
right.
no, he served them.
They
Yeah.
Served them during playoffs.
Oh, they can
Oh,
do it
that's
during
true.
playoffs. Oh,
Yeah.
That's why they did that
So
paper
during
transaction. Huh?
the first 2 games, when the Eagles were on their bye, he was pulled up during the Eagles' bye, and the Avs were playing on the road in Dallas. He was on their roster. Look it up.
Mhm.
Go on the
I
roster.
did,
You'll
yeah.
see him as a scratch, and then he's not on game 3.
Genius.
But and then
really
he didn't play for the Eagles for like 2 or 3 more weeks. So is he even hurt during then? So they called him. out of the
He was fighting his upper body, his shoulder injury.
So that's even funnier. If he's actually injured. But I didn't. Yeah, none of us knew that. None of us knew that they could do that. So I guess they found that little loophole. So I
Yeah.
guess they do intend to call him up someday. But if he's the one they choose, if they need a body, he's the one they choose. I'll be very surprised. But
I think
We'll see.
he'll be the one that if they need a body and they need a fight, they'll call up.
He is
Yeah.
the most fourth line coded option.
oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And the
no
most willing to fisticuff.
Yeah, but even beyond the fighting, his like forecheck and hitting game is his game. So
Oh yeah.
I do think he'll get games. I'm not sure about opening, but
yeah,
it's a good,
I agree.
good bold prediction.
a couple other Sharks available: Noah Gregor,
Oh,
Matt Nieto, Marquette
Do
No.
it.
Don't bring Nieto back.
No.
Jeez, a third time.
He's so washed.
All right, I got my bold
He
prediction. and then-
spent half the season in Wilkes-Barre.
Klim Kostin, another Shark.
yeah,
Ezra's on a
We're-
fun side quest right now.
yeah. He's just throwing darts at the wall, praying to God something sticks, and I love it. That's what I'm here for. That's
ever played there.
that's what the off season's all about. I got a bold prediction for y'all, and it's gonna be one that I think if it comes true, we'll all be kind of stoked. It might be a little pricey, but I think it makes sense. Martin Necas will sign a 5-year, $10.88 AAV $1 million contract.
Wow. Oh, 8-8.
Yeah, see
I
what I,
like
did
it.
there?
I don't hate
See
that
what I
number.
did there? I don't either. And it's closer to 11, more than 10. It feels
No,
like that's
no.
reasonable. 5 years
It'll
still
be-
gives him a chance to re-up for another final contract.
It'll be
for some
8
big money.
8.
I was gonna say
That'll have to be-
9.88. If they get him to take something short, I wonder, because the Avs don't want to go over 10. So
No.
I wonder.
That's why the
if-
888 is like
Yeah,
the
that's
cherry
why I
on
think
top.
9.88 of it.
Yeah.
Could they get
Okay.
him to take
I dig
like
it.
a 4 or 5 year deal for that?
That I like even more.
If
Yeah.
they actually do come to something, I bet it'll be something like that.
Yeah.
If they
That's
get to the
why
agreement.
I did my homework. That's my bold prediction because I'm hoping that I'm real close to right about
That's
that
true.
contract.
I mean, there should be
Yeah.
somebody that predicts that it all works out.
Yeah. Well, folks, This has been an amazing episode. I've drugged my friends here through extra 20 minutes, and I appreciate you all for joining me for that extra 20 minutes. But we better end this program with 840 of you currently tuned in live. Thank you so much for powering this off-season edition of the Mile High Hockey Lab. I am Adrian Hernandez, and I've been joined by Ezra Parter, Evan Liu, Jackie K, and Brendan Vogt. And we are very happy and lucky to be in front of you today. We hope you guys have a wonderful summer and continue to extend that summer into the fall, where we will see you in October ready for opening night hockey. And in the meantime and in between time, we're just going to keep talking about the Avalanche until we are blue in the face. On behalf of MileHighHockey.com and the Mile High Hockey Lab, go Avalanche, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning into the Mile High Hockey Lab.